Hi, I'm Jami.
And I'm Hugo.
Welcome to No Particular Place to Go, where two middle-aged guys on opposite sides of the Atlantic talk rubbish about cars, car culture, ownership, track days, modifications, and pretty much anything else related to cars. We're not professionals, as you'll shortly hear, but a big part of our lives revolve around all things with four wheels. Thanks for joining us. We met up in person.
Yeah.
And it was right about a year since we last saw each other, right? Because you moved back
exactly.
about a year ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that it's actually kind of nice to hang out with human beings, particularly ones like you, Jami, in real
you're
life.
Too kind.
We had a really nice time.
We did. And so this is a big plus, or a big, what's the word? Endorsement of meeting human beings in person.
Yes. Tell your kids, tell your friends. Human beings are okay, actually.
But we had a decently car focused hangout. The first part of it, like, my goodness, I think we left your house at 6 a.m.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't too jet lagged, and it forced me to adjust. But we went to FOTU, Festival of the Unexceptional, in, is it Grimsthorpe Castle?
Grimsthorpe Castle, I think, in Lincolnshire, something like that, up the A1M, if you will, if that's not too explicit.
Up the A1M. I don't know.
Well, what type is what she said.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what kind of euphemism that is in your slang, because everything is slang for everything. I could say good morning.
The A1M.
I could say, "Hey, good morning." So I'd be like, "What do you mean by that?" I'm sorry,
bloody yank.
But it was an awesome show.
Yeah, it was fun, wasn't it? And I was sort of reflecting that, I guess, for a couple of years now, with like Goodwood Festival of Speed, it's maybe been a few years since I went, and the last time I went, I just found it a bit sort of disappointing. It's like really big, really corporate, like really kind of like, and in a way, almost like too much going on, like kind of quite overwhelming. And what I really, really liked about FOTU is it's like felt to me like it was just the right scale, right? Like there was plenty to look at and do for the day, but it didn't seem like too much in any way. And it was just like, it's also really nice to go to a car show, and it's not just all like, I don't know, cars that are hundreds of thousands or millions of pounds that you know you're never going to own and are completely, and then you just walk around going, oh, I'm poor. Like, I am so shit. Like, it was actually just really nice to be like, oh, cool, look at that Nissan Bluebird, right? Like, there was someone that lived down my road that had one of those.
Yes. Yeah. I thought it was the right size as well. Like, definitely could fill several hours, but it didn't feel like, oh, I've got to come back tomorrow to see everything, or the crowds are so thick that I can't actually see everything. And it was really about the cars. It wasn't about pomp or showing off or who has more money, but it was just about the cars.
Yeah. Do you have, so I mean, highlights for me definitely were sitting in the rain under an umbrella for the Smith Sniff live show, and then I was getting a selfie with Mr. Porter afterwards. That was definitely quite, a little bit exciting for me, a little bit starstruck. I think I'm taller than him though, so I'll take that.
I think you are. I was surprised. Yeah. But both him and Johnny are pretty tall.
They are, yeah. There's definitely a lot of that going on. I'm trying to think sort of car highlights. What were yours? Because I'm also sort of conscious that as we were walking around, I was like, "Ooh, look at this and look at this and look at this," and having grown up over here, that was sort of what I was used to, and I was a bit conscious. Like for you, it's like, well, I'd seen a Polo Harlequin before, because like people used to drive them around like in real life, not just at car festivals, and I guess they never had them on the other side of the pond.
No, they sold, if I remember correctly, a Golf Harlequin here, but super rare. I think I maybe have seen one or two in my whole life, but it was kind of overwhelming. Ironically, in the sense of like when you go to like an all like, I don't know, $1 million and up car show, it was kind of overwhelming in a very different way, because it's a totally different ecosystem. Like the drive
Yeah.
there was is anytime we were on the road, it was kind of a mini car show
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say probably 80% of the cars are cars that I had never seen in person and heard of before. So that was exciting to actually make those connections. Or they were cars I had never seen or heard of before. So the ecosystem's
Mm,
so different there.
mm. Yeah. And it was sort of fun pointing things out to you, like here's a Dacia Sandero, and here is a Cupra Formentor, and stuff like that. You're just like, What's that?" Um,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that was like, and we saw some cool, like we definitely saw some like FOTU cars coming up as well. There was like I think it was like a mint, like Ford Fiesta, like B-Reg Ford Fiesta with like the dealer sticker in the back that was like chugging along on the inside lane kind of thing.
Yes.
And it's like it's pretty cool to see those on the road because you just don't see stuff like that anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And for me, like ever, I know you got really excited about the dealer sticker in particular. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing.
You're quite interesting there, Hugo. But because I mean, I guess for me, it's just like all. And it's funny. I was talking to Kirsty about this before, like thinking about your NSX, which we should get onto. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I feel that in the UK, like a lot of the car culture is like the more sort of period factory correct it is, as if you've kept it exactly as it was when it rolled out of the showroom. Like that's really, really desirable.
Okay.
And I think a certain amount of like that sort of customizing culture is kind of considered to be like devaluing the car in a way,
Yeah.
right? And so when you get those things like it has the original number plates that were on it when it was issued, when it has the original dealer sticker, like when people, and you saw this quite a lot of photos, like people had like the brochures and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like you kind of get that sense of like provenance as if it's like a sort of work of art, which some of these, like I'm just flipping back through the photos and like realizing how excited I got by like a pair of Volvo 480 ESs next to each other. Because I remember we had one as a weekend test drive, and I don't know whether they did that at the time or like that was a complete one-off. But then I remember my dad being quite into it, and then someone raced him at the lights because he was in a sporty car. I mean, it's still a Volvo. And he was like, "Oh, I don't like those because people are racing me at the lights, and I don't usually do that in my beige 240."
How outlandish. Very, quite
I
yobbish
know,
behavior.
It's just far too garish and ghastly.
Yeah.
It's not the dumb thing.
Yeah. Wait. Was that the proper accent when you say garish? It should be garish and ghastly.
Oh,
It's just
utterly
not the done
ghastly.
thing. Ghastly behavior. Yeah, no, every row was kind of like a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
But it was prizes that I didn't know I wanted to see. I was just constantly going, whoa, what's that? Whoa, what's that? I've never seen that. I've kind of heard of that. I mean, I think the biggest, like, it was really the whole thing was a highlight. But I think the cars that particularly stand out to me was seeing my first in-person TVR ever. So it was a Chimera, right?
Chimera. Yeah, yeah. It's a
Chimera.
silver one. Yeah.
Yes. That was really cool. For some odd reason, the Fiat Multipla is such an odd car, and I think we saw two. So that was really cool.
Yeah, could have been. Yeah, we saw some even just in the parking lot. There were a couple of Alpines.
Oh yes, which we'll also talk about your betrayal.
Yeah. And there was an Insta.
Yeah, which I'd never seen.
They're pretty cool.
That was really cool.
It's quite funky. Next to a Clio Trophy 182.
See, you're doing a bit of a cheat here. You actually are looking at the pictures, which I should do.
Yeah, I'm doing my homework, or at least my memory is so bad that I'm just like I have to. But I think in a way, something that I also really enjoyed about that is like you just kind of get these contrasts. Like again, I'm looking at a Renault Velsatis next to like an Alfa Spider, like the sort of angular late 90s one. And it's just kind of cool to see these cars next to each other, right? It's like you would have never kind of put them together. Yeah. And then you chuck them in a field and you're like, oh, this is just cool. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, there was so many. Oh, like a Bond Bug, which I'd never seen before in person.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I'm looking at this Ford. Ooh, is it a Ka or a Puma?
Oh, the car next to the Honda City with the scooter in it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I
That
love
was
those
really
cars.
cool.
I remember having one as a rental for like a day or two, and it was really fun to drive. Like I think only like a 1.3 or something, and maybe it had 100 horsepower, but it didn't
Oh,
weigh anything. And like a really sort of like one of those kind of snicky gearboxes that you kind of change gear just for fun. And I mean, it was always kind of like a slightly strange, funky looking thing, but for a while, like they were everywhere, and now you don't see them at all. And they
oh,
did the sport car and the street car, and the street car was the little sort of like two-seater convertible,
I
kind
remember
of
the
almost
street
like,
car.
yeah, almost kind of like cappuccino, Copen kind of vibey thing. You don't see many of those around anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
It's funny how cars that used to be common just disappear. You don't see them anymore.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just scrolling through photos here. Oh, okay, RB5 Subaru. That was
Mm,
pretty special car. Let's see here. Some cool Citroens that we saw that I've seen them online, just so unique.
yeah.
There was
And
a
that's we
lot.
were saying as well that for a little while they brought Citroens into the US, right? Because Alex
They
Roy,
did.
the dude who did the BMW M5 with the Polizei livery and had for a while the record for the coast to coast run.
Yes.
He did a talk at Google at some point. I think it's on YouTube. But
Oh,
like his
really?
dad was a Citroen dealer in New York. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I had no
Fun
idea.
fact, huh? It's like I can barely
Yeah.
remember my, ATM pin code, but I can remember nonsense like that.
I do remember looking at Citroen CXs and SMs like from the 60s and 70s that will show up for sale in the US every once in a while, long while.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
always thought they were really cool. I think it's one of those, if I had tons of space and money, I would probably have one just for the
Yeah, for
novelty of
sure.
it.
I would too. I would too. And I also think something like that would be great for sort of like EV resto mod. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think the powertrains are amazing, but the
Yeah.
shape is really cool. And if you did this sort of like Model 3 wheelbase, like, update on that, that would be quite cool, I think, to have something with modern running gear, but just look like a spaceship. Because they still
Yeah.
do. I mean, they're still like amazingly modern, given it's like a
They
50-year
do.
old car at this point.
I mean, when those came out, people must have been going, "What the heck is that thing?"
Yeah, exactly.
That is
Yeah.
cool.
And you think even the DS was that late 50s that first came out, and the swiveling headlights and all that kind of nonsense. And then
Yeah.
and then guess what? The super aero thing, which is coming back with all these EVs, right? Because actually the way that you solve the range piece is you actually make it cut through the air. And it's like, well, Citroen were doing that half a century ago, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, just so unique. I think that's one of the things that's really cool about a lot of the French cars is they didn't just say like, well, there's already an established way to do things. We're going to do something different. And
Mm.
instead of maybe going hardcore sporty, we're going to make this thing ride like pure luxury,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is really nice.
Which for gentlemen of a certain age, you do get to a point where you're like, actually, 95% of the time, I would rather something that is comfortable and wafts, particularly given the state of roads in, I don't know, the Western world.
Yeah.
And you're sort of like, well, actually, how often am I going to be caning it around the corner? Like on a real road with real traffic and stuff. Like, sure, track is a different thing, but like, we talked about that before. It's like, sort of actually having a car that's built for the conditions that people
Yes.
drive in nowadays,
Yes.
which is not on the track, or it's not like, what's the point of having an Ineos Grenadier and driving down around the M25 in it, like with recirculating ball steering? It's like, who's like, who thinks that's cool? It's like, I don't know. It's
Well,
funny
and we
we've kind of got
spotted
here.
quite a few at FOTU, like kind of old man spec 90s and 80s cruisers. The Audi A8 has always had a soft space in my heart, and it's like,
they still
no, it's
look
not on
great.
19s, it's on 17s, and it's got fat sidewalls.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
looked
we
really
were
good.
talking about that on the way up, actually. And even like, sort of like the beige interior versus the black interior.
Yeah.
And yeah, like having something that looks cool on small wheels and like that's not pretending to be sporty or set Nürburgring lap times.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I kind of like the idea of like, I don't know, having some like beige Jag XJ, sort of proper old man kind of cloth cap spec, and then putting one of those little Nürburgring stickers on the back of it, just
I admit,
to wind people up.
I'm starting to warm to beige interiors a little bit. I remember my Mitsubishi Galant had the beigest of beige interiors, and it wasn't even like a rich brown or tan. It was like this pale, like diarrhea tan, and I hated it so much. I think it's turned me off.
It was like number 6 on the Bristol scale.
Yes. Or was it number 7? Maybe this is probably like a number 9 on the Bristol scale.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
it was very full, yeah.
It was not good.
But it's funny you say that, because I now have wound up with 2 cars, both of which have light colored interiors, and I'm kind of sold. Like, I don't know that I want to go back to the kind of getting into the coal hole, like, because particularly for the larger gentleman as I am, like, it definitely gives you a sort of sense of space more so than kind of being surrounded in the dark colored interior. I mean, the only other alternative that I think is when I had that Audi TT and I had the bright red sort of scarlet leather kind of proper Tarts handbag. That was lovely. That was great.
I really like that.
Yeah, that was super cool.
I haven't owned a car with like a really bright blue or red or other color interior, but I highly suspect I would really enjoy it.
Yeah, there's something about, there was an age as well of like British cars, like maybe sort of like Bentleys, maybe even like MGs and stuff, where it was a relatively popular color combination, I feel, to have like the dark British racing green paint and then like oxblood leather interior.
Yeah,
and like that is like
that looks good.
Like, I am into that. Yeah,
no one does that now. If they do a red, it's really bright.
Yeah,
I'm sure if you spent a ton, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah, but you do the custom option nonsense and just add a few zeros to it, because I mean, what's money anyway when you're just destroying the planet? You may as well go for it, kind of thing.
I would be pretty excited by a aubergine, aka dark purple interior, and I think I'd mentioned the E39s. They didn't sell a lot of them with it, but they did have that available, and it's really rare. I looked at one for my E39. I think it was like $3,500 for the full interior. It's like, that's a quarter what the car is worth. Forget it.
It would have been cool though.
Oh yes, and I don't care what exterior color. Like the fact that it would have a purple interior would be so cool.
Okay, and that's your number one interior color, purple.
I think on that car, the way it was done, and it was pretty dark purple. I mean, at first blush, you're like, "Is that brown?" You're like, "Oh no, it's purple."
But you're not otherwise a huge purple fan.
You know what? Actually, growing up, purple is my favorite color.
Huh.
I would tell my mom that my school was purple when I was 3 or 4 years old. My preschool, I told her it was purple. Huh. Or I think it said it had purple grass. I don't know what kind of drugs they were giving us at the school. But
the good ones.
Yeah. I think I said it had purple grass and the school was black and the sky was pink. I don't know what I said. I was clearly hallucinating.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
The purple
maybe
Kool-Aid.
Too much.
Yeah.
Purple tinged glasses. But
wow.
I really liked seeing the A110s in person.
Yeah.
You know, the only big miss was I didn't get to drive an A110. So you've had a change of fleet, as it were. Do you want to share what you shuffled around?
I have, and from one end of the spectrum to the other, really. Actually,
yeah.
So I think when we last spoke and we recorded, so Mrs. B had her electric Fiat 500, which she still has, and she's happy with. I was dailying our Volvo sort of V60 hybrid thing that we drove to FOTU in. And then I had the little blue French car that was tucked up in the garage that I wasn't really driving, the A110. And I think I got to a point where I was like, this is a really lovely car and I'm not using it. And actually, with all these potholes around here, I'm sort of a bit nervous about using it, actually. I'm kind of not enjoying taking it out because I just feel like I'm going to bang it and it's gonna, and I don't want to do that to it. And so I realized I sort of wasn't using it and kind of felt and I popped on collecting cars and I was like, I will see what happens, and I have my number, and if it hits the number, great, and if it doesn't, then the universe has spoken, kind of thing. And it hit its number, and it went to some very charming young blokes who who had gone to the Festival of Speed, and I'd listed it that weekend, and they got all excited looking at all the new Alpines and stuff there. And then so on a whim, bought it, and then came and picked it up, and they were like, we can adjust the seats, right? And I was like, well, if you've got an Allen key, but otherwise they're fixed back. And like, and they're like, I can plug my phone in, right? And I'm like, not really.
So how did
they both had like just like normal sized backpacks, like they'd come down from London for the day, like it's not that far, and they're like, where's the rest of the boot? And I'm like, no, that is the boot. Like there's a little bit in the front as well, but like that's the boot. And they're sort of like, what have we just done? And I was like, okay, see you, have a nice drive.
So they hadn't quite done their research.
No.
But they managed it in the end, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm sure they had an adventure. And and it was a lovely car. Like, I mean, it had all the service history and all the rest of it. Like, and actually was a really sort of nice spec as like the pure one, but like with the exhaust and with the, with the right sort of badges and stuff. So it's like, in some ways, I'm like, I really enjoyed having it. It was really nice to sort of have it as an experience. Like I got to do it was like this local Alpine group. And at some point we were in this convoy of like 7 Alpines, like driving around and stuff. It's like, I felt like I kind of had those moments with it. And at the same time, I don't know, like sort of waking up to this idea that for me, for most journeys, most of the time, like the sports car is just not actually a brilliant solution in real world driving. Yeah. And then it just feels like a shame to have it sat in the garage and not use it. And also it's an expense too. So having got rid of that, then, and then my midlife crisis has continued, where I then also got rid of the sensible Volvo that had just been fully serviced and had new tires on it and all the rest of it, and went out and bought, and it was more or less a straight swap in the end for a 2011 sort of full fat Range Rover TDV8, which I have to say, in many ways, objectively, is kind of stupid and ridiculous and crap. And I kind of also love it. Like even on the test drive, I was like, it's like, is the steering really this heavy? Is it really this wide? And all the rest of it. Is it really drinking this much fuel? But I'm just smiling the whole time.
Hey, you're way ahead of me because you did a test drive. So like the last 3 or 4 cars I bought, I didn't even get a chance to test drive them because they're on the other side of the country. So good for you.
I mean, I've done that too and made a commitment and, like paid the money, and then it shows up on the driver and you're like, oh, okay, fine, I guess. Sure. Whoops.
So L322,
322,
which I think is safe to call YouTube spec because it seems like every YouTuber in the UK has an L322 or had one recently.
Yeah.
Just really popular. Why?
Yeah.
You know why they're so popular?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of what people will say about them is, in some sense, that 322 is like the sweet spot between the original and kind of where they've got to now, right? Like, okay. And because I spec'd up a brand new one, more or less like what would be the equivalent of the one that I have now, and it was 150K. And I spent 15 on mine. And actually, you think like, again, for the driving I do, I'm banging it through potholes. I'm scraping it along like hedgerows and stuff. Like the place where I got it, which was this like specialist for Defenders, actually. And they're really cool. Shout out to UK Defenders in Edenbridge. They're awesome guys. But like one of the people there was like, one of the sort of mechanics is like ex sort of, Jaguar Land Rover main dealer, was telling a story of someone who like picked up a brand new 460, 150K odd, had the full like sort of matte paint option on it, which was like extra. And he was like stunning, brought it back a week later, having like, been in a narrow country lane, had like scratched the whole side of it, like all the panels, and then it was a $6,000 repair job to fix.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm sort of like that's half of the value of my car, right? And I'm like, and I've pinged the wing mirror already on stuff, and I'm like, I don't care, it doesn't matter, like because it's not perfect. Yeah. And I think there's something about that 322 that, particularly in the UK, it's like it's not actually too big. it's just on the cusp of being too big. Like you can still park it actually in most places. Whereas I think even the 405, like sure, okay, you're doing the sort of single finger twirling on the steering wheel, but I think like in a lot of car parks, you're kind of like, okay, I can get it in the space and now I can't open the door sort of thing, which is not fun, actually.
Yeah. You could always crawl out the boot, right?
That's true. That's true. That's what you got the split tailgate for. Yeah. But it's funny, when I was looking at them, there was one on that, and the clear glass is the big thing, right? Like so mine has the tints, which is not really the dumb thing.
Is that just too gangster?
Yeah. That's okay. That's not countryside enough. I mean, mine does have the mud flaps and the tow bar, which makes it a little bit sort of countryside.
Makes it more appropriate.
Yes, exactly, more acceptable. But everybody wants the clear glass, and there was a clear glass one that was for sale that was like, I think maybe quite a lot more than mine, cost-wise, for a similar age and mileage, that had followed behind Wills and Kate in their wedding procession because it was owned by the royal household.
Oh, so you're kind of like royal spec here.
Well, I mean, you definitely feel when you're driving such a vehicle, it's hard to sort of not look down your nose at people a little bit and be like, oh, down there in your X5, really? Oh, okay. Well, I'm up here in my Range Rover.
So L322 is, it sounds like it occupies that sweet spot like a lot of other cars occupy. Like for me, I'm not a big 911 guy, but like 993, 996, 997, I think is the sweet spot for for 911s, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of cars just like, it's just too modern. Like Lexus IS, I think the 2008 through 12s is probably like the ISF is great.
Yeah.
And after that, it's like, not quite as good.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about this extensively, but like there's that's like the time period for cars. It's really good. It's like you go from like late 90s through like maybe 2010, 2012 at the latest.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I think since I've had the CarPlay retrofit to this vehicle, I'm now like, I can't really imagine wanting anything else, actually, right? Because it's got physical buttons to change the heater and all that kind of stuff, which is great. It's still got radar cruise, like the interior is lovely on it, all this kind of stuff. Like the stereo is great. Like I'm super, super happy with it. I mean, a few things have gone wrong. And so it has been giving me the opportunity to fix it and to bond with it.
Hopefully not ruinously expensive, but
not yet. Not
so far.
That may well come. Because I noticed the other morning it was a bit chilly and I tried to put the seat heater on and the cooling bit works. So that's cool, literally. But the heating bit wasn't working. So it's booked back into the shop for that. And then there was little things like, I think the wheels were slightly out of balance. So it had a wobble on the motorway, but then I took it into like the tire shop and they fixed it for like 20 quid or something. So I was like, great, boom.
It was just out of balance.
I think I told,
that wheel was just out of balance.
Yeah, or like maybe one of the little wheel weights was out or something like that. Sort of like, a kind of 20p item. One of the things that it did in the first week or two that I had it is I put all the seats down. Like I've taken it to the dump a few times. Like it's amazing. It's like a van in there. It's amazing, the amount of space. And then I couldn't get the rear seat to go back up again. And so I looked up on the forums and I unscrewed a couple of trim pieces and scratched around in there a little bit and sprayed some WD-40, and then it worked. And I was like, I fixed a thing. Like I did it. I'm basically a mechanic now.
And you fixed a Range Rover, not just
any
car, but you fixed a Range Rover. Did you charge yourself like 500 pounds labor?
Exactly. Just emptied my own wallet.
Like, I think I'll pay it. Oh, look what I earned. And then you can spend that on something else that the car needs. Is that it? But, other than that, nothing else wrong?
Pretty much.
Nothing expensive or like really bad so far.
Well, I mean, in fairness, the dealer was really good. So I test drove it and they'd only just had it come in and they're like, look, we want to do a full service. And as part of that, they ended up doing something to do with the oil cooler, needed a seal changing. There were a couple of like lower arms that they changed. It needed a new battery. So they definitely did a few bits, and they spent a little bit of money. And then when I went to pick it up, actually the guy Harry who runs it is really sweet. Like he was like, "Oh, let me fill it up with fuel for you." And we're in the petrol station, and I'm like in the driver's seat, and he's like holding the pump, and I'm like, "It's been a long time." And I'm like, is this a really slow pump or is it a really big tank? And he's like, yeah, it's a really big tank. And like, so it's like it's £100 to fill it up.
Dang.
Which is quite like, but then I mean, it gets on a run, it's getting like, I don't know, 30, 35 miles to the gallon. It's actually no worse than the Volvo was.
That's amazing.
And you're wafting around having a great time in it. And I'm sort of like,
and your Volvo is a hybrid vehicle. It's so it's matching that. That's pretty shocking.
Yeah. No, so I'm happy. And it's funny, I've definitely, like some cars you have, and on paper they're kind of perfect and you somehow just don't bond with them. And then some are in some ways like fairly imperfect. And yet there's something about them that just kind of gets under your skin a little bit. And like already with this Range Rover, it's like we're kind of pals, and I'm sort of like, okay, like it's getting on in years and it's a little bit kind of beaten and bruised and broken in places. And I'm like, me too, right? I'm there with you. Like we are the same, and that's okay. And I think even for me, it's like, because I'm like tall, I realize like I've had this succession of cars where I'm like, okay, well the ceiling is right here, and I have to kind of like make my like mold myself around it and fold up and whatever. And in this Range Rover, I'm like, I can stretch out at my full height and feel comfortable, and I'm like, yeah, okay, like sure, it's tricky for me to fit in a parking space, but like I'm big, so be it. Like,
it fits you.
The world can get out of my way.
Well, I think that it costs you $15,000 is a big part of this. Like if this car had cost you $70,000-$80,000, your expectations would be much higher.
Yeah,
and then
totally.
You don't have I think in my mind, like one of the biggest killers of car ownership is I'm worried about it. I'm worried about where I park it. I'm worried about getting dinged. I'm worried about it breaking down. When you take that worry away, like your mind focuses instead on, what does this car do well? And I think even to a smaller extent, less on what it doesn't do well. You're just kind of like, it cost me $15,000. Like it didn't cost me
I don't
70.
Care. Yeah,
it's forgivable.
100%. And that was very much the thing with the Alpine is it's like, okay, I know these are rare and this was expensive and, and this is a modern classic, so I don't want to screw it up and all the rest. And you sort of then have that pressure that genuinely takes away from the enjoyment of like just hopping in it and going for a pint of milk kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I need to let the oil warm up and all that kind of stuff. And with this, I'm sort of like, do you know what? If I drove it for 2 years and then just drove it into the sea, it would be fine. Like, like how much money would I pay in depreciation to lease a brand new one? Like, that value every year, twice a year. I mean, it's wild. And actually, like, I don't know what a new one really does that this one doesn't do, actually. And there's a lot that it doesn't, because again, it's like the driving that I do in the potholes and through the hedges and stuff. I would be so nervous of a brand new one doing all that to it. I wouldn't want to. So.
I think that was one thing was, you'd mentioned it's like, oh, I've got country lanes all around my house. And I was like, okay, to hear that is one thing. To experience them in person, actually see how narrow these roads are. These are single track roads. With a speed limit of 60 miles an hour, there's hedges all around. I think it's insane that you can go 60 there legally.
Yeah.
And then every time someone came by, you both would have to pull halfway off the road in massive potholes to get by. And this was just like, you drive like half a mile, someone would come, you do this. You drive another half a mile, someone would come, you have to do this. Like, I'm surprised you all aren't in like Defender 90s to get around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the farmers certainly are, or sort of like beaten up Hiluxes. And again, I mean, that's the funny thing is like that sheer fact of just sitting like, I don't know, an extra 6 inches higher up off the deck. It's like you're able to see over some of those hedges a bit more. Like I reckon I can go faster point to point in the Range Rover than I could in the Alpine, because you can see so much further on these roads, right?
Wow.
And also, okay, if I have to pull over onto the verge, whatever, I'm barely going to notice it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the funny thing with the Range Rover as well. Like I've done some motorway trips and it's been absolutely torrential. And I'm sort of like, oh, I guess it's raining out. Like you kind of don't notice it in a way. Whereas like, I think of the first car that I kind of drove much on the motorway was like my brother's Peugeot 205, and you'd go past a truck and you'd really get sucked into it and spat out the other side, and it was kind of quite scary if you weren't really paying attention, you know. And the Range Rover, you just like sail past, you just kind of like, boop, 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 like I've got my arms on my armrests and I'm just watching the world go by here, you know.
Yeah, you've got that.
It's a very different thing.
There are times where like that bigger, solid, and heavier vehicle is reassuring. It has like more short-footed grip on the road, and it feels safe and secure. Like you're not getting pushed around and blown around. It's nice. Definitely. It can be really nice.
Definitely. So listen, I'm very excited to talk about this next chapter in like fleet changes, because you have left some Easter eggs and some fleas in my ear over the last couple of weeks about your beloved vehicle of some decades at this point.
15 years. 15 years.
Oof.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It is. It's a really long time.
So Jami, tell me about the NSX.
So it's at the moment I'm actually selling two different cars. Both of which I have
the Beamer as well, right?
Yeah, so my E39 wagon is for sale. And it's funny, I had a friend who was interested come over on Friday night, and we had it up on the lift and we were looking at it. And the more I looked at it, I was like, oh man, it took me a while to find this car. Like, what are you doing? But I don't drive it very often. I bought the Lexus ISF, which I can't remember if we talked about. I think we talked about that on a previous episode.
Yeah, we talked about a bit. Yeah. CarPlay issues as well.
Oh yeah, all that. So that's all sorted. It's great to have Android Auto in it, and it's just a better daily driver. It's way more fun. Yeah. I think the BMW is one of those where I could just look at it all day. Like I'm really happy with the state it's in, like where I got it, the wheels, the way it sits on the wheels with the suspension. But I got to be truthful. Like it's really not that fun to drive. It's fine to just cruise around in like very casually. But I am not like a often, just like put around person. Like when I'm driving, like I do like taking corners at like a certain speed and having some fun and enjoying the handling of the car. And that car is not a handler, despite it being labeled a sport wagon by BMW. I strongly disagree with the sport part. It looks sporty. It's not very sporty. So that's for sale. I have someone coming around this afternoon to take a look at it as well. That one, I don't think I'm as heartbroken over. It's the second one I've owned. I wouldn't be shocked if a third one's in my future, but I'll try to not do that again. I tend to overpay for cars and then undersell them. So I'm not.
I have that same affliction.
Yeah, some people are great at it. Folks say I've never sold a car that I've lost money. I'm like, damn, I'm not doing it right.
But what price enjoyment, right?
Exactly. And the convenience is a big thing too. It's like, all right, I'll pay a bit more to have it sooner, have a nicer one, and then I'll take a little bit less for it to have it gone and free up space and money. So so 15 years I've had the NSX. I bought it as almost an entirely stock car. There was a couple things done to it when I got it, but it was basically stock. And I've enjoyed the heck out of it. I've done everything. It's literally on its third engine. Because it changed the configuration, it was NA, then it was supercharged, and it was back to NA, wide body, all sorts of stuff. Like it's very, very, very modified, and I am happy that I spent the extra money to always put the best parts on it. I think that really makes it easier to sell on. But it is also heavily modified, and like you mentioned, I think most people are like, well, I would much prefer a bone stock NSX. Versus one that's heavily modified.
Well, I was wondering about that because, like, again, like I know that tuner culture, like particularly sort of West Coast, is really strong, right? And like, and that car is like a real sort of like poster of that whole culture. And in my mind, there will be someone who will come along and who will notice and who will sort of see all of those mods that you've made and understand all of those mods that you've made and really appreciate what that stuff means, rather than coming along and being like, oh, it's not bone stock and blah, 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 and I would rip all of that off kind of thing. Like, I mean, is that how you're kind of feeling as well? And I mean, I suppose I even wondered, like, when you start to think about selling it, like, does it even make sense to sort of advertise it and sort of even more sort of like mainstream kind of enthusiast things like a Cars and Bids or whatever, or are you better off going like there's like a more niche community where it's more likely to find someone who actually understands it?
Yeah. So it's really funny you asked that, because the very TLDR is it's very likely already sold.
Huh.
Which is funny.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I did, a friend of mine who also has an NSX hit me up, shout out to Tony, and said, "Hey, let's go to this Cars and Coffee." This was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was kind of waffling. I was like, I just want to sleep in. I said, "Yay, what are you doing? You're selling the car. Go take it for a drive. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And so I did. And we met up with another friend who I've known for a bit. And he has thought about an NSX for probably a couple of years, is my understanding. And he's seen my car. He knows Tony's car as well. And he lives really close to Tony. So they physically are like really close to each other. And I had mentioned like, yeah, I'm going to put it up. I'm probably going to go bring a trailer, assuming I can get the reserve that I want. And totally unbeknownst to me, the moment I said that, like, I think the gears in his head started turning. He's like, oh, okay, I've got a couple cars that I barely drive and I'm more than happy to get rid of. And, he's had an NSX in the back of his mind. So we spoke yesterday. He's actually going to be by this afternoon to come check it out a little bit more.
Okay.
But I think he's pretty interested, and I would love to sell it to someone I know, and someone who I know will appreciate all of it, and also local.
Yes.
I think that would be awesome.
Yes. Well, I was even going to ask that because it strikes me, obviously you have like quite a long relationship with this car, and I can see on the one hand being like, it'd be really nice to know it's going to a nice home and to, I don't know, maybe even see it again at some point in the future, right?
Yeah.
And I could also imagine being like, I'd rather it went to the other side of the country and I never see it again, because like, what if I see it and someone else is inside it, if you'll forgive me. But you feel more like actually it would be cool to maybe bump into it again at some point in the future.
I think it would be. I think it really would be. I'd love to. If this goes through, I will absolutely see it again for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so one day you will pull up next to it at the lights in your 570S and burn it off, basically.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I may feel intense envy and go, "Hey, do you want to trade?" Yeah, so I think it's nice for it to go to someone, if hopefully it goes through, but I think it would be nice to go to someone that I know. And I think the other thing is I can support that person with if they have questions, because it is so non-standard. Like some of the things that they might run into, you're not going to be able to find by reading the owner's manual or taking it to a mechanic. There's quirks here and there. And actually, a lot of the modifications on it were done by Tony, who this person knows very well. So he knows the local NSX whisperer pretty well. But I know that's like kind of got to the TLDR right away. So like, how the heck did I get to this decision? So, if you've listened to our podcast before, you know that, the thought of selling it is not new. But I think I had to start asking myself, like, what about this car do you still appreciate? What about this car justifies it hanging around and still staying? And it's a fair chunk of money. And I think maybe it's a bit of like, maybe I'm growing up. Maybe I'm not. There's some counterpoints to that. But maybe I'm growing up a little bit and just going, I got to justify the things around me. Like, I have it's kind of a weird example, but like, if I've got a spare pair of shoes, like, they're not really worth much. So fine, you have a spare pair of shoes. But like a spare car is actively taking money. You're paying insurance on it, maintenance, and all that kind of stuff. And in this case, like, I feel like it's worth a fair chunk of change. And then so you start to evaluate, and you and I are not in the circumstance where it's like, it's only money and I have plenty of it to just throw around left and right. You have to think about you've got to think about like what resources and where you have money tied up. And so some of the things I've been thinking about are, prepping myself for like a post-work life, retirement. And how do I get there a little bit more comfortably, faster?
So you can retire to the UK.
Yeah, gladly. I'll bring my Miata, and I'll be the weirdo in the left-hand drive. But
perfect. No, you can take it to France. You'll tour Europe in it.
Oh, yeah, maybe we'll retire to Paris, and then we can take the train over.
And that works. I'm down with that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a plan. We'll hold you to it.
Wait, you're not coming back to California? Is this your way of telling me?
Well, not what's going on at the moment. I mean, I'd quite like to, avoid the Civil War, but that's not what this podcast is about. So
this podcast is not about the Civil War or inappropriate jokes. Wait, we have
that conversation is available in many other podcasts.
So yeah, I started thinking, I was like, what do I want to do with those funds? And so I would like to do a little bit of investing. I would like to have, add it to the nest egg. But at the same time, like, there are other cars I want to experience. And some of those cars I could easily buy outright for what that car's worth. Others, that would be a fat down payment towards some of those other cars. But there's a fairly long list, which I want to get back to in a second. But so I asked myself, like, why do you still like it? Why is it still around? And it took me a while to realize, like, two things. One, I've experienced everything there is to experience in that car. I've taken on long road trips. I've modified the heck out of it. I've ups and downs, many different iterations of the way it's built today.
Yeah.
I've tracked it. I've done Cars and Coffee. I've done, Speed Hunter's photo shoot and featured a little bit of media here and there, which is not a big deal to me at all. I've seen the evolution of the parts. Like, the NSX story is still, like, really personal to me. But I realize, like, really today, my main appreciation for that car is just having it in the garage, not driving it, not modifying it, not tracking it, but just having it. And I've told a few people this, like, if I could create like a half scale or 1-to-1 scale model of it and just put that way to look at, I would get the same amount of enjoyment.
Yeah.
So that really makes you go, like, why do you still have it?
Yeah. So what am I doing then? Yeah. So can I ask you this? Because I would imagine if you would have been putting it on, like, Bring a Trailer or Cars and Bids or something, like, obviously part of that is you get the professional photographer, you get them to take a boatload of photos inside and out, video. Like, when I sold my 911 in the US, like, the guy put up his drone and he went for a drive, and it's like it was so cool to have all of that record of it, that in some sense when it actually went off on the low loader, I was kind of like, but I have all these beautiful photos, I have this video, like, I still have a piece of that car on my hard drive, kind of thing. Like, are you planning to do all of that, or do you feel like you already have enough of that sort of material that, like, you'll be able to keep it?
I feel like I've got enough. So I'm very fortunate in, like, Fenton's iGreen has driven it 3 or 4 times. So it's definitely on his YouTube channel. I can kind of relive it. I feel like one of my goals, I wasn't, like, dying to hit this, but I really was hoping it would happen, was I wanted to be the highest reviewed first gen NSX on his channel, because he's driven so many, and it is. So I was like, oh, cool. And he drove it not that long ago, but with the current setup, the ITBs and the board and stroke motor and all that. So I think it's been cataloged enough that I'm going to remember it. I'm not going to forget it.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, I think a couple things that really solidified it to me as well is, I've had some pretty long drives in my Miata over the past 2 weeks. I took it to a track day last weekend, and then I've had some long drives in the Alfa Romeo, and I'm just like, I enjoy driving these cars more.
Yeah.
I know NSX is legendary, but after 15 years, I think some things do get stale, or they don't feel the same way. And like, I know this may have.
I'm not thinking about my marriage, by the way. That idea was not crossing my head. That's a whole other podcast. I'm pretty sure my wife isn't going to listen to this anyway. So that's
off-topic podcast. Yeah, so I think it's just like, it's not that it's not a special car. It's just my experience with it is different.
Yeah. I think that makes total sense. Like, for you to say, like, you've turned over every stone with it that you wanted to turn over. Like, you've had those experiences. Like, it's like it's done the job for you that you wanted it to do when you got it, I guess. Because, I mean, if you think back to when you first got that car, like, why was it that it was that car more than any other car, and what did you want to do with it?
Oh man, that's a great question. So when and my wife was a little bit, like, even yesterday, she's like, are you sure? The whole time I've known her, that's been my dream car. And the whole time I've known her, I've either wanted one or had one. So to not have one is kind of like, Whoa.
She's like,
Which
"Ooh,
is
what's up with you now? New glasses, changing the car. What's next?"
buying a Dacia Sandero and, yeah, I'm importing one that's over 25 years old. I can't wait. I think when I got it initially, it had been a dream car for me for a lot of reasons. I think it is supercar, an exotic car, but it's also it's not that it doesn't have emotion, it does, but there's a rational side to it as well. Like I think for a lot of people, especially if you're buying 90s, say Ferraris, Lamborghinis, etc., like it's not rational. There's a strong irrationality to it, and I had a hard time resolving that. Not that that was even in my price range at that point, but the fact that the NSX is made by Honda and the fact that I've driven them before and it's not hard to drive, you could very easily make it your daily driver, made it a much stronger sell for me. And then the fact, like, strong heritage, strong engineering, pioneering in so many ways. And I was like, man, this is really like the car for me. I don't want to go as far as saying it's the thinking man supercar, because I think there's a lot of thinking men's or thinking women's supercars out there. I think that does a lot of cars short service, but this one, I think it just hit all the right boxes. It was like, okay, relatively easy to get parts for, daily drivable, enjoyable. You can take it a lot of different ways. I did not intend to modify it as much as I did. Not at the outset. For the first couple of years, I was like, okay, suspension, wheels and tires, and that was it. And then when I started tracking it more, I was like, okay, the brakes are kind of a weak point. And then I was like, I want more power. And then I think the evolution of my thought was, this is a car that should be able to stand with modern or more modern supercars. Yeah. And one of the things that's missing is the power. So it was like, naturally, supercharger. And then I was like, you know, there's complicated. It didn't really suit the nature of the car. So I was like, all right, I'm going back to NA. And now it makes 400 at the crank. It, weighs 3,200 pounds, something like that. Maybe a bit more. But it absolutely flies. It's fantastic. It's NA. It's like all those things that I wanted. And now it's like, all right, I've completed that journey. And now it's time to look at other things.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. So other things. Are you going for a quick rebound with something inappropriate? Or are you thinking about committing to another long-term relationship, perhaps for a decade plus?
I am thinking, I'm not sure. There could be like a quick rebound, and then I know it's short-lived, and then I move on to something longer term. So it's interesting.
So here's a question for you. If you were going to go the quick rebound and do something totally inappropriate, what would be the crazy rebound that you would not want to keep?
V8 Vantage.
Okay.
Easy peasy. Because
straight away.
You
knew it. Yeah.
And it's easy. Why? So like to buy that car outright would be within budget. And they have slowly been creeping up. I've been looking at those cars for probably 10 years, but they're slowly
they must have bottomed out. They can't stay that cheap forever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point probably, pre-pandemic, so maybe 5-6 years ago, where they were fairly semi-regularly getting into the 20s. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's an insane value. Like, come on. You can't get a new Accord for that much. Yeah. Now they're solidly in the
even
30s.
If it needs a bit of work, right? You're like, at that money, it's like, I'll pay it, right? Because it's still worth it. Yeah.
Well, so that's the thing. Like the parts expenses for that car, like, NSX parts aren't cheap, but like, it's all relative. The parts for Aston Martin anything are insane. Just bonkers.
Even though a lot of them are probably Ford or Jaguar parts.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a good point. Like if you're able to cross-reference a Jaguar part number, like that's probably cheaper. Although Jaguar is a whole nother story today. But when I look at even like in the aftermarket, like, oh, this is no longer made. Here's an aftermarket version. Just ridiculously expensive prices for everything.
Yeah.
And you're ordering everything in. Nothing's in stock. And so that's why it would be like, this is very short term. This is just short for a little bit, just see what it's like and then get rid of it. I don't know if I'll do it though. I've driven 3 or 4 of them now and I've never been wowed by the dynamics. It's kind of I over index on the exterior appearance a lot. and
Yeah.
I still think it's one of the best looking cars ever made.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, they are undoubtedly beautiful. But again, in a weird way, it's something that you could like. So I've never driven one. I've heard them being described as quite creaky at this stage, right? Which sort of makes sense to me. And again, in a weird way, I almost think that's the kind of candidate down the road for the sort of like EV swap.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? You go,
yeah.
I have this beautiful body, and then I'm just going to get the running gear out of a, I don't know, Model 3 Performance or whatever. And like, actually, as a package, that could be quite interesting, right?
Yeah, that
but
could
like,
be interesting. Yeah,
that's another level. Can I make a suggestion for you?
of course.
For a crazy rebound, totally inappropriate, sort of midlife crisis, getting an earring kind of thing. Hellcat.
Oh my god!
Come on. What's like the anti-NSX Hellcat?
Oh my gosh, that is the anti-NSX. I try to not usually take like the image of a car into consideration.
Like
much.
the people who drive them.
Oh, the image for a Hellcat is just
bad.
No, man. No, that's not
like the kind of person that kind of shoots steroids at the gym. It's that kind of person, right?
Yeah, or the person who like doesn't have the equipment downstairs and really wants to make up for it. Like that's and I think I don't think it's just in the Bay Area. I think it's everywhere in the U.S. It's like there's definitely a strong stereotype of a not just Hellcat, but like Challenger overall.
Yeah. And Mustang.
Yeah,
V8
I think
Mustang
they overlap.
Yeah.
I think
the
Chrysler
also,
products
would you say Ford Raptor territory kind of adjacent?
Ooh, I think Ford Raptor is definitely higher up, like the societal rung.
Okay.
Just because one, they're like crazy expensive, but also they have a much broader appeal. I think a lot of people who you don't think would be Raptor drivers are Raptor drivers.
Actually, that's a really good point, because when I worked in that ed tech company in the US, the chief people officer, who was otherwise like a really sweet, mild-mannered dude in a polo shirt and glasses not unlike yours, and sort of graying ginger hair, had a Raptor in the car park. And I was sort of like, you in that? Really?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's a I think it's kind of like somewhat rebellious image, but I think it also speaks a little bit more to being more of a connoisseur versus just being antisocial. And I do think like it or not, I do think like Challenger and Mustang like have a strong like, oh, you're just a yob.
You're just a dick.
Yes.
But do you not fancy being a bit of a dick for a little while? Would that not be kind of fun?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people might think I am a dick already. It's like, oh, Jami's going full asshole now with the Challenger. Yeah.
Oh, here comes Jami again with his midlife crisis mobile.
Yeah.
But then I sort of feel like if it's not, because to me it's like you get something like that out of your system. Like, have you ever owned a muscle car like that?
I haven't. No. I think the closest was my Cadillac domestic big power.
Yeah.
But that's a different. That's like that's more like the dick who's had some success and maybe a kid or two.
Yeah. Well, what about? I'm thinking of other things that don't seem very you. I mean, pickup truck.
Oh no, I don't think a pickup truck's gonna ever be in my future. No.
Would you have something like a Wagoneer as a cruiser?
Yeah, I would actually. I wouldn't mind. Like, I know we were trading pictures of like Jeep Cherokees. Oh, a Cherokee would be really nice.
Yeah.
A Cherokee
would
be nice.
Be a really good rebound, right? Because like not wildly expensive, like still pretty practical.
Yeah.
Like, that maybe gets you over your sort of, sad and lonely goodbye NSX hump. And then like by the time you come out the other side and you're ready for a new relationship, then at least you've had a nice time with a Cherokee.
You know what's funny is like I think it's a good sign that I'm ready in that I don't think I'll be sad. I'm like,
wow.
I think I'll be pretty happy with that money in my pocket and like thinking about what might be next.
Well, that's telling you something. Well, I mean, I
It's high
hope the
time.
conversation this afternoon goes well in that case.
Yeah, I hope so too. And then I also I have my daily driver, my SF, and I still got my Miata, which I love that Miata to bits. It's so
I know.
fun.
You genually love that Miata. I know that you
love
really
that
love
car.
that Miata.
I'm so glad they made it. I'm so happy they added more power with the ND2. I was looking at NAs again because I had a 94, and then I was like, no. The new ones at the time, like 2019, 2018, like they look so much better. They have more power, more feature comforts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just I took it to track day on Saturday, there and back, cruise control, easy peasy. Nothing stressful. Don't worry about it.
And did you blaze past some larger machines with people who didn't know what they were doing?
I did. There were some folks who were very new to tracking, who were there. Really nice guys, just not as experienced. But because it was a private day, it wasn't kind of like, hey, anybody could sign up. It's a small group of guys that the organizer keeps very controlled. These people that he's comfortable with and knows that they're safe and sane. It was super fine. Like huge speed differentials on the track weren't a problem at all. Everyone drove well.
Yeah.
So
that sounds good.
Yeah, it was good. So the one, I hesitate to even say it, but so I was talking to Tony again. This was last weekend. I was like, hey, how do you know when it's time to move on? And I think he gave a pretty good answer. He's like, I know it's time to move on when I'm willing to get rid of this car for something else that has piqued my interest and I'm excited about. And so I will say, I did that extreme experience track driving thing, and it wasn't in-depth experience with the cars, but it was enough to get a taste of what they're like on track. And I'm really quite
do I know what you're about to say?
I think you do.
We say it at the same time.
Let's see if we say it. Okay, on the count of three.
Okay.
We won't say the brand, we'll just say the model. So
okay, just 3, 2, 1. GTR.
Huracan.
Oh. Well, that worked perfectly. I mean, so in sync.
Yes. It's a psychic connection. You said GTR. I said Huracan.
I said GTR. Yeah.
GTR is cool, without a doubt. I've had an R35 kind of on my mind. But actually, that drive cemented that it's not the car for me.
Okay. Yeah, because it's funny because I mean, I could totally see you in a GTR. Yeah. And in some ways, I think probably like you've sort of done it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's sort of, that would be the easy one, but it's probably disappointing too quickly.
Yeah. And that's, So Huracan, like, we'll see.
Huracan. Interesting. How's this for a curveball? Gallardo?
I've looked at them, and from what I've seen, the reliability difference is massive. Like the Huracan has been described as essentially bulletproof, incredibly well put together. The Gallardo eats clutches pretty quickly, and they're very expensive. I think we're talking $50,000 a pop.
So the Huracan is finally like full Audi, and the Gallardo was not quite. It was still too Italian.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And so as an alternative, I've looked at R8s, V10 R8s, and the V10 R8s are like half the price. But
I mean, I don't mind an R8, particularly the Gen 2 R8s. I think are really nice.
Yeah, they look really good. I think the Lamborghini.
But it's not a Lamborghini, is it?
Yeah.
Mate, and if you have a Lamborghini and an Alfa Romeo in your garage, you can legitimately have a chubby most times, I think.
Yeah, but that chubby will be the wad of cash you have to keep on hand in case something goes wrong. It won't be something else.
Your mechanic will have a chubby as well from knowing that you have a Lamborghini.
Yes. Every time he see a text from me, he'll be like, "Oh, vacation time!" Because we're gonna make $20,000 off this guy. Well, and the irony is not lost on me that not 40 minutes ago we were talking about $150,000 for a Range Rover, blah blah blah. Is outrageous, and that's where the Lamborghini Huracan is. And see, this is one of the questions: is I was just talking about all these logical financial reasons to take the money, blah blah blah, and then turn around and blow it on an Italian supercar. But that could be a short-term thing. It's like, hey, I'll try it for a year. And I guess really they always are, right? Like you may have the idea that, oh, I'll keep this car forever. And then after a year, you're like, I'm done with it. Which gets expensive quickly, but it could be cheaper than keeping that car forever. So I don't know. It's very unknown. But there's like some of the other cars I've thought about are, I think it's 981 model Porsche GT4 is appealing.
Yes.
Especially as a track car. That would be really nice. I think one of the things that really is tough is I'm a Japanese car diehard. Like I just love the value proposition. I love the way they're built, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, the culture and everything.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm happy I still have my old Miata. Part of why I think I took a while is like I like being part of that group of older Japanese, like everyone says JDM legend, and I think that's right. Like, so I liked having a car that was in that group. I've looked at other like the peers of the NSX, and the NSX is far and away the most appealing of the JDM legends for me. And since then, Japanese manufacturers haven't made many cars that appeal to me. And if you look at like the current pickings, it's pretty slim. Honda's got the Integra Type S and the Civic Type R, and that's really it. Yeah. Toyota is keeping things going with the GR86, which is a fantastic car, and I know it's a Subaru BRZ twin. Then you've got the GR Corolla, not for me at all, not something I'd have fun tracking. And then you've got the Supra, which is also not quite what I'm looking for. You get the Mazda, I already have the Miata, and that's all they have. And then, Mitsubishi's kind of a non-player here. They just have SUVs. Who am I forgetting? That's pretty much it.
Subaru don't do, I mean, just the BRZ now, right? Like this,
they have the BRZ.
Sort of, unless you want to get an Outback, like a, alternative lifestyle person from the Pacific Northwest. But that's like, yeah.
I mean, so they have the WRX still, and the BRZ/86. Those are awesome cars, but they are way too similar to Miata.
Yeah. I was going to say that does the same job as the Miata, right? Like that's not really a different use case.
Yeah, they're the exact same. Like a little bit more space, a bit more power. But...
Another thought for you.
Okay.
Another thought for you. What about something that is 25 years old or just soon to become 25 years old from this side of the pond that you could pop over that nobody else would have one? Like, I don't know, 205 GTI or like some sort of something that is just like oddball. And it's not going to be a Huracan and it's not going to do that job.
Yeah. But
like as a sort of cars and coffee cruiser, you'd be like, you're only ever going to be the only one. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. How old is the Megane R26R?
Oh, they're getting there. I think those were early noughties. So I want to say like maybe, do you mean the ones with like the really thin perspex, like rear? Yeah. I want to say like 2004, 2005-ish, maybe.
Getting close.
So you got a couple years yet.
Yeah.
But if you knew someone who lived over here and who had a spare garage that you could just park it up and, until it was ready.
Who do I know that I trust?
Yeah, I don't know. No, and trust being the.
Do you think the same person would be willing to?
Wow.
I don't know. Futz with the paperwork on an A110, maybe, and we could pass it off as a 2001 car.
just like have a cardboard cutout of like a Renault Megane over the top of an A110.
I don't know what you're...
I doubt the DMV would know the difference.
I don't know what you're talking about. Customs and Border Inspection. This is
EPA. Shut up. It's a Renault.
Model year. Duh.
Yeah. Look at the audio controls. It's definitely a Renault. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Look at the entertainment. This is from 2000. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so if that car was sold here, I would get that in a heartbeat. I would absolutely get it. It would cross over a little bit with the Miata, but it's a different experience. It's mid-engine. I think this is one of the things about being in like bigger metropolitan areas. Like Porsches are everywhere. And I know to the rational mind that's not a reason to not buy one.
Yeah.
But it's also like how unique.
I know exactly what you mean because I went through the same thing with the Range Rover. I was like every YouTuber has one, every knobhead from here to wherever has one, and I was kind of like I don't want to be that obvious. And then I got in it and drove it, and I was like, sorry, I guess I am that obvious.
Yeah, I think that's okay. The Porsches I've driven, I don't have extensive experience with Porsches, but I'm stealing this from other people because they say the same thing, but they just kind of leave me cold. I don't feel an emotional connection. They're really good at what they do, but they're clinical, and I don't feel that emotion. I did go out in a friend's Amira on track this last track day. And man, that's a nice car, but I am a little bit scared, maybe more than a little bit scared of owning one. The price is right, the power, capability, daily usability, they hit a lot of marks. Especially, I think, as used, I think they're continuing to depreciate quite nicely.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It feels like a gamble.
It's kind of the Vantage thing, right? It's like it will break, and when it will break, it will be expensive, and it will probably be off the road for a while, and it will just be a pain.
Yeah.
And then you're not really enjoying driving it because you're worrying that it's going to break. Sort of thing.
Yeah, and now it's like even worse than NSX. It's like, oh, I have a car I want to drive, but I can't.
Yeah,
I think if I lived in the UK, like I think a V8 Vantage,
maybe it's
or
different.
Lotus,
yeah, true,
a lot easier to deal with the risk, but here it's a little bit tougher.
Yeah. What about, to your point on this JDM Legends? What about doing one of those sort of like you can import it directly from Japan and you get some sort of like something that they only sold there. Even I think Johnny did something a couple months ago about, I want to say it was like a little Daihatsu like mini pickup truck K car type thing that was four-wheel drive. And I was like, I have no use for something like that, but I really want one.
There was a period maybe 12 years ago, and I was like, I really want an R34 GTR. And this was before I got a chance to drive one. Not that made it worse. Like I still was like, oh, it's a cool car. But I really wanted one, and the price is reasonable in Japan. You'd end up storing it for a long time at that point. And obviously you see the prices like skyrocket. Now they're $200,000 cars here.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're really expensive. Yeah.
Wow.
And the value worldwide has gone up because like Canadians could get them 10 years ago. Like they had the 15-year rule. We have a 25. And I think a lot of people in Japan were like, oh, when the Americans can bring these in, the prices are going to skyrocket. And they did. I don't want to live with a right-hand drive car.
Yes. Fair.
And fair. I have considered it's tough, but you can get left-hand drive Galant and Legnum VR4s.
Okay.
But those motors are considered horribly unreliable, and I have stalked a little bit on the groups on Facebook, and getting parts for those is really painful. You're like, oh, I'm ordering it from Australia, Japan, New Zealand. I hope it fits. The fact that mine might be left-hand drive is very oddball. But I do see them for sale from importers for under 20 grand. And I'm like, whoa, that's another car. I kind of an oddball dream car because I had the US Galant, which was really boring in comparison. But the right-hand drive thing, the parts thing. Yeah. So we'll see. I think really like one of the things I noted was to basically like on this episode to lament the lack of exciting cars coming out of Japanese manufacturers. Like, if you made something, I would be all over it. Yes, there's the NC1 NSX, which Fenton just got, and another friend just got, and I experienced on track last weekend. But it just doesn't pull at my heartstrings. It's rationally, things make sense, but like, I don't feel a lot of emotion towards that car. So, you've got the GTR, which just ended production, and are the prices spiking here in the US now that it's stopped? I think a lot of it is like, hey, what's the next gen of this? Like, for which car is the next gen definitely gonna be hybrid or EV? Let me get the just pure ICE version.
Yes. Yeah. And that is starting to become things like Caymans and Boxsters, right? Like, are going to be EV next time round.
Yeah, they just ended production. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see, especially like the GT4s, GT4RSs, Boxer Spiders, RSs pop in price. You're seeing a lot of 90s Ferraris pop in price. And
Yeah.
I
Even those like
do.
360s and stuff like that were kind of in the doldrums for quite a long time.
Oh, yeah. And they are taking off. Like, especially you've got like the Speziales and Scuderias. I mean, Speziales have always been expensive, but they've gone up a lot just in the past few months. They're setting new highs at auctions, and I think all the prices are rising. And I think from that perspective, they made 20,000 Huracans. So, one, parts actually for it are reasonable. For example, a new starter for the NSX is $900.
Yeah.
A starter for a Huracan, $350.
Oh.
And it's probably an Audi part that's using a bunch of other Audis. So it's like, cool. They made 20,000 of them, but it is also NA, and the Temerario is not NA. It's twin turbo V8 with hybrid. And I think there's a strong chance that the Huracan won't depreciate too much, and then maybe slim chance that it could actually appreciate if you held it long enough.
Yeah.
But it is a steep entry point. It's pretty pricey.
Yeah. But in the meantime, you are driving around in a Lamborghini and it is making a crazy noise, and they are like they are beautiful, right? Yeah. Like I don't know that the baby Ferraris like that one that John GB had. Like, to me, the Lambos have always looked better.
Yeah.
Like, the big ones, the Aventadors and stuff, you go actually on the road, if you ever need to park it anywhere, like that just feels like a ball ache.
Yeah.
But I think like to me, the Gallardo and the Huracan, it's like that. Like, I remember when I worked in the city, and this is probably, this is probably like 15 years ago now. So it must have been a Gallardo. There'd just be like one parked on the street, like, because outside some bank, and it was there from like 6 o'clock in the morning kind of thing. And it's like actually just like in a parking bay, and you're like, yeah, it's like fine, just Lamborghini on the street, like, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I love 458s. They generally are more expensive. There's like a few oddballs that are quite a bit cheaper than you would expect, but then you wonder if there's stories. And then there's, the bargain Brit supercar, which we talked about in the past. You got that 570. Yeah. So, and that's quite a bit cheaper than a Huracan.
Yeah. But the Huracan seems more exciting.
I think so. I think they both have really strongs. I think the Huracan really brings that reliability and the build quality that McLaren is notorious for not having. So yeah, your price of entry in the McLaren is considerably cheaper. Its reliability and actually daily usability for the Huracan is likely higher. So that's where you start to get into like parts, dealer experience, etc. I mean, I'd be super excited to have either one. I'd be even more excited.
It's kind of a nice problem to have, isn't it? I mean, and in a way, it sounds to me like actually what you need to do over the next few weeks and months is like test drive a whole bunch, like go and hang out with them, like spend the time, like sort of enjoy the chase a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like the last thing I'll say about Porsche is like, I think a lot of the people around here that would be in the market for either those two cars, the 570, the Huracan, or even like 458, a lot of them just default to Porsche. And I totally get why. They're incredibly reliable. And if you're interested in tracking it at all, Porsche stands behind their cars like no other manufacturer. And I believe in their warranty, the text says, you track it like warranty's void, but they don't do that. They actually stand behind the cars. They know people are tracking them. And that is why Porsche is really the easy button. A Porsche GT car is the easy button if you have the money. But the problem is everyone's hitting that button. And you're like, okay. And I think that maybe that's why like a lot of Porsche owners kind of get so deep in like the spec. It's like, oh, I got this deviated stitching and I did get the extended
and I've got the Visac package and whatever special edition and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're super exacting because it's like, I think to a certain extent, that's the only thing that differentiates your car from somebody else's.
Yeah.
So, you're absolutely right. I need to spend time researching and test driving, and we'll see. And I think I also, when I do sell it and the deal goes through, I think a big part of me is going to be like, are you just completely irresponsible and you can go and blow this on another car? And so it may be a while before I pick up anything. Maybe I wait for some of these cars to appreciate further.
Maybe that's
So
smart to see. Like, let's see what happens with the market, and let's see
yeah,
what is going up and what is coming down, and like, because they feel like there are a lot of those like gyrations. Like it does seem like there's a lot of movement there, and
definitely.
yeah, and like after 15 years, maybe you need a little bit of time by yourself before you're ready for another relationship.
I think I need to it's just me and my Miata. Me and my little
Exactly.
Miata.
Just
Just
find your
hanging out with me.
center.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the Miata is definitely the center. Oh man. Um
Yeah.
yeah, so it might be a while. I don't want to rush into anything. And yeah, like I said, like, some of this money's going to go into investment. And if the investment's going
Yeah.
well, it will feel even more irresponsible to
Right.
just jump
Yeah,
in a new
exactly.
car.
If you chuck it in the S&P 500 for a little while and it goes pop, like you'd be like, okay, I'm looking at a Aventador now.
I would love an Aventador, but they also scare me, like you said, like the size. They're supposed to
Yeah.
be not that great to drive. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know that I would. I mean, you know the roads around where I live. It's like
Oh,
there is no way.
you'd have to have it helicoptered in onto the highway so you could drive it, because you wouldn't really get to it.
Yeah.
I do think we need to wrap at this point.
Yes.
So for our faithful listeners, hope to add an
Singular.
S sometime soon. Hey, if you have any questions, feedback, gripes, or praise, or you happen to have an Aventador you want to get rid of for $5,
Yeah.
email us at info@npptg.com. We're signing off. Thanks for joining us. We had quite a hiatus, but we're back, and we're going to record more frequently, so we'll be back soon. And next time you tune in, maybe Hugo will have helicoptered in an Aventador.